String
What's
pops.
up, Joe?
Great.
It felt like it was close.
Yeah, that guitar like demands you do that.
You have to do that.
Yes.
Right?
You have to.
Either you
have
have to
to.
tap.
It's, right.
One or the other.
Or-
Tremolo
or-
pick or tap
right,
or dive bomb
right,
or
right.
harmonic, pinch, whatever.
Right.
You can name the technique, and I'm sure Eddie had something to do with it.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah. Oh, coffee. Like, subscribe,
Season
notify.
3 on a roll.
Season 3, episode 4. We got some more EVH. Episode 1 was EVH, right?
Mm-hmm. Episode 1, we took a look at the amp
Yes. So now we're back
versus
to
the
this.
pedal.
So Joe, let me go back in time, right? So there's probably a lot of our viewers who I would imagine are in our age group.
Probably.
Maybe some are a lot younger. Hopefully we reach a broad range of ages. But when I think back and I think about this particular guitar, there's one particular song and one video that comes to mind, and there's probably a million, 40, 50, 60-year-old guys going, Unchained, I remember it.
Yep.
Yeah. So back in the early days of MTV, there was very few. The videos were cool. It was always cool to see a video on MTV.
Sure,
because
they
it
would
was like,
premiere them.
yeah, and it was
in
like,
fact, if we talk about videos and we talk about Van Halen, as a kid, I remember watching the world premiere of the Jump video.
yeah. Well, I'm
I
getting to
remember
that.
waiting to see that.
New Year's Eve. They
Yes.
did it on New Year's Eve night of '83 into '84.
Yes.
So, but before that even, so now young people out there, there was a time where you had your music, right? You listened to music,
Right.
and you either saw pictures of your favorite artists, right? There was in magazines or posters or album sleeves.
it.
That was it. You really didn't see video unless you
Internet
went
wasn't
to
a
see
thing.
them live.
There was no
Internet
such
wasn't a
thing
thing.
as the internet.
You didn't see them live, right? You just, unless you were fortunate enough to be, have a cool aunt like I did, who took me to see Van Halen when I was a young kid. But MTV sort of brought motion video and married it to music, because
Yep.
MTV was music television.
Yep.
So you'd sit there and you'd listen to I Ran So Far Away, and
Mhm.
Video Killed the
Flock
Radio
of
Star.
Seagulls, right.
Yeah. And although we probably didn't love the music, it was just cool to see like video associated
Sure,
with music.
sure.
So anyway,
You got to see people playing the
playing
music,
it, or they had
which
like,
is something that
or
you really, which was hard to
yeah,
visualize
Yep.
as a kid. And to your point, you only heard the music.
100%.
You didn't really know what it looked like
yeah.
to perform
yeah,
it,
yeah, exactly.
right?
You heard of it, you saw pictures of it, but you still
but
couldn't
you
put
still
it all
didn't know
together.
what exactly.
So
Different
now,
world.
Oh,
Totally different
So
world.
it's important though to like get back
Understand
into
where
that
things
frame of mind.
came from, right?
So now you're a kid, you're 10, 11, 12, 14 years old, whatever it may be, watching MTV, and at the beginning of every hour, the rocket ship would go up, right? It
Yep,
would,
yep.
and then, right? That music would come on, and then here's a term that didn't exist then, but is very familiar to us now. There were thumbnails that would show up alongside of the 3 videos that were going to be
Oh, yeah.
in that hour.
Okay, yeah.
There might have been 10 videos, but they would highlight 3 of them. Well, once a month, the little Van Halen thumbnail would come up, and I'd be like, oh my God, it's coming on. So you knew it was going to be either Unchained, So This Is Love, or Hear About It Later, because now this is before Jump is even a thing.
Right.
So, of course, if it was Unchained, we got to see
That
the
guitar.
Circles.
Now, if I remember correctly, in that video that you're talking about, it was the Live from Oakland, right?
Yes, 81.
81 tour. This guitar is only pictured in the video, like for very briefly.
Well-
it's not the whole. It's not the whole.
Well, I'll tell you
song.
this. It's most of the song, but what makes a brief cameo
Is
is
the Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking.
So yeah, it's mostly this, but at one point
thought it was the other way
It was
around.
like a bad cut, like some
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
footage. All of
yeah.
a sudden, Eddie's playing the other guitar, and then it comes back and he's playing this. So yeah, this is featured on most of it.
And I also remember about that video at the end of the song. There's the big like crescendo thing at the end, and you see
The
he's hitting
lights
the
of
gong
fire,
with
yeah.
the fire, and Eddie is just
Is that
going
the craziest
off.
thing in the
But
background?
you don't see him.
You don't see him, you just hear.
You just hear it. And you're like, oh my God.
But anyway, so if you're
Good
young,
stuff. Good stuff.
if you're young and you've heard about Van Halen and you've heard about what the show was all about, do yourself a favor and look up any one of those 3 videos,
Right.
because I don't know that there's a music video in the world that can encompass the power of a live band than any one
Better
of those
than
3.
that, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that you got a feeling of the crowd, you got a feeling of the stage, the guitar tone in those 3 videos is
It's crazy.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely insane. So anyway, that's my tangent. But I can't hold a guitar that looks like this and not go off on a tangent about
Right.
Van Halen and
Right.
Unchained.
Of course.
specifically.
Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah. So yeah.
So this is part of the Van Halen Stripe series.
Yeah.
So, what was it? To around what year? 2012 or so. They started doing the Stripe series.
Mhm.
Maybe it was a couple of years before then. They did the black and white. They did the Bumblebee. Right. They
Yep.
did the black, white, and red.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't the Frankie replica that they have now. And then they started doing some of the more obscure guitars. This being one of them, the
Yeah.
Circles. I think this was around 2014 or so. They did the Circles, and it was limited. They only did it for a short while. They did the same thing with the Star.
Yep.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
EVH
That's a
Star
cool
guitar.
one. Yeah. That's another cool one.
Yeah, so this is the Circles. Eddie back in the day, he was always changing and experimenting with not only his
The appearance.
the
the electronic.
exactly.
Yeah. He would.
It's not only just pickups and whatever functional aspects of the guitar, but the graphics.
Yep.
And
And
that
they were all
was,
cool in their own way.
yes,
Uniquely cool, right? Because this
Uniquely
looks
cool.
nothing like.
No,
I mean, it looks a little bit. I guess the color scheme looks like the first album with the stripes, but it's not. It's different.
right. There's
But it's
some
still-
stripes, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's different. It's
Yep,
it's
yep.
Circles.
And I remember seeing a band not recently, probably 3 years back, and it was a cover band in a restaurant, and the guitar player was playing
Oh,
this
really?
particular one. And I remember walking like past the when they were warming up, and I was like, "Oh, it's cool. It's an EVH." He's like, "You know that?" Like he was shocked that somebody recognized this guitar as an Eddie guitar.
Really? Well,
Yeah, which is like,
because it's not traditionally.
and it,
what-
listen,
it's not the black,
he was
white,
a younger
red,
guy.
right, right.
and it was just, it was just funny to see him
Sure.
playing that, and I guess not a lot of people have recognized this as an Eddie Van Halen guitar
No.
unless you're
Unless you saw that video.
video or you're diehard.
and that's
in
the
some
only
way.
video I think it's in.
Yeah,
right? It's not in the other
no,
two.
No, it's not.
It's very interesting.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's really interesting. And Eddie, he had a lot of very unique, even with the black, white, and red, there was the Frankie, but then there was like 100 other ones that he would do
like the
that were
51.
similar.
51 that looked like
Right.
the headstock was different. On
Right.
some
They
of
were
them. Yeah.
similar, but
Yep.
you could tell that they were different.
Yeah, even
Um,
though he had the Steinberger he would paint up, remember
Yep.
from Summer Nights, and
Yep,
the
yep.
Transtrom.
And you know what was cool too back then, up until I think the 90s, most of his guitars were single pickup affairs.
Mhm,
It was a
mhm.
bridge
Yeah,
humbucker.
yeah.
And that was basically it. He had some other guitars that obviously the Frankie has dummy pickups in the front too.
Yeah, yep.
But he was almost exclusively only playing
Yeah,
the back.
it wasn't
pickup.
until again the more modern era of
Right.
Eddie that he started using the neck pickup.
Which you talk about the modern era is 30 years ago.
Well, yeah, but
You know what I mean? But-
it's post David Lee Roth
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
where he started to incorporate some of the neck pickup too. But yeah, I love this guitar. It's just it brings back a lot of childhood memories for sure of that.
And the
that
layout
video.
and the layout is very similar to the black and white one,
Yep.
the Bumblebee look, the Bumblebee one, and the black, white, and red. In that, you got the one, EVH humbucker. You have the D tuner.
Yep.
You
right
know,
up here,
the
D-tuner.
Floyd. You have, it's locking trem. Obviously, it's a maple neck, maple fretboard.
It's got the compound neck
The
radius.
compound neck radius.
Got the truss rod adjustment here, which we know I love, and
Exactly.
the volume knob
is kind of
kind of added away, which so it hits
That's
on.
fantastic.
It hits on a lot of the points that I look for. Of course, I would like the second pickup because
Right.
that's just me.
You
but
switch
that
pickups all the
goes-
time.
Yeah.
right.
all
Now,
the
what's
time.
on the back? Let's see the back of the guitar, 'cause I know there's graphics on the back too, right? Yeah, buy later, see ya. So it's called the Circle See Ya.
Yep.
So that's cool.
You do that at the end of the show, right?
So, I mean, as an instrument, though, what do you think of it?
I think it plays great. We've had other ones, right? We did the
black and
the
white,
black
I
and white,
think,
yeah,
right?
and it feels almost identical to those, so it's familiar to me. I've grown to love the compound neck radius,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Fantastic.
it's
yeah.
fantastic. It's a great thing because, of course, as you go up high, you want to have that. You don't want to fret out.
And amp-wise, just so everyone knows, Soldano mid-90s Hot Rod 50,
Which we featured in the last episode.
featured in the last episode.
Liked it so much we wanted to do it again.
Right, which all the knobs go to 11.
Yeah.
We're hitting the front with a Boss Super Overdrive, not the Waza version, just the standard one. Going into a Mesa Cab Clone IR Plus with a Mesa Boogie 412
Yeah.
simulated cabinet on this.
Cool.
That's what's going on sound-wise.
Check it.
Let's check this out. Some cable.
Yep, there you go. It's all yours.
Well, the neck is a little more chunky than I would have expected, actually. But flat. Cool though. It's cool.
Yeah.
The neck is fatter than I thought it was going to be, but it's not fat by any means.
No, it's not uncomfortable.
No, not uncomfortable
At all.
It looks like it's a little bit thinner, more like Charvel
Yep. Mm-hmm.
width.
Yeah.
It's a little bit thicker than the newer Charvels. I thought they would be very similar, but they're not. I wonder how close this is, in measurement to the original neck.
Be interesting to find that out.
Yeah.
I
mean,
this sounds great too.
This isn't like a replica.
No, this is Well, how much
Right.
did this cost?
Right, like they did the replica 78, and they did the replica Bumblebee, and they did a replica Frankenstein, and those are very, very expensive instruments. This isn't one of those. This is the sort of like
production
run.
Yeah.
But it's a cool guitar.
It's iconic for me.
It is.
And it sounds great. I think it plays good.
Sounds good.
I'm jealous I don't own one. But
it's a cool. It's got the D-tuner. It's a great guitar. I would like them. I would like to see them do more of the more obscure, every guitars like they did the Shark.
Yep. Yeah.
That's really, really
That's
cool.
As cool as that is, the most uncomfortable guitar in the world for me to play.
I can imagine.
Even more. I mean, we did the Randy series when I had no idea at all.
Yeah.
It's right there with that for me.
I can see that.
It's a tough one.
I can see
But
that.
it's cool. It's very cool looking.
It would be really. I mean, they obviously did the Star, they did the 5150 one, so they've
cool
done
looking.
a lot of them.
That's a great looking guitar.
They've done a lot of them.
Yeah.
So be curious to see what they do
And
next.
God, if there is more footage of that show, of that Oakland '81 show,
Yeah.
I heard there wasn't, but
Yeah.
maybe Wolfie will unveil it in the vault one day, and
Yeah,
we'll get to see that whole concert.
that would be
because
amazing.
To me, that's one of the greatest rock concerts ever captured, and it's only the 3 songs. So
Yeah,
I
it's
know there
weird.
was a
It's
lot more.
weird that they would only film the 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm
but
thinking.
then you could, if you put yourself back, 41 years ago, film was probably expensive,
Yeah.
or however they were doing it. It wasn't like an iPhone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It was like heavy gear. You had to hire people to do it.
And it's funny because now you're looking back on it, even you see it on YouTube, and the quality's so terrible compared to modern
Sure.
footage, but it's just so iconic.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, just
It's out
go
there,
look at some.
yeah.
It's everywhere, but it's definitely worth seeing because
Yeah.
if you want to like capture the heart and soul of Van Halen and realize how integral every member of that band was.
Right.
I mean, you couldn't do it without any one of them.
Right.
And as a unit, they were just larger than life. So
Yeah.
check it out. And
It's awesome.
that is in the Unchained video. Go check it out.
Yep.
And like, subscribe, come back. We got lots more coming
Episode 4 done.
in the books.
See ya.
See you.